Jay-Z had this quote where he was like, they grass look greener because they rake it more. That's maintenance.
It's maintenance, yeah.
That's maintenance. And so we have to get into the spirit of maintenance. We got to get into the spirit of maintaining relationships, maintaining our community, maintaining our businesses. Did y'all know this? I just learned this. I think it was like 94%. It's up there in the 90s. I can't remember the exact number. But like 90-something% of Black businesses don't employ one person.
Yes. Yeah.
We are
not one
solopreneurs, bro.
Solopreneurs.
Stimulation like coffee, swear they ready to risk it. D&D if it's positive, never fail, they'll miss it. Entitlement, hypertension, accountable is deficient. Painted like I'm Da Vinci, but own it like my invention. I feel like I benefited when reading my brother's sentence. Yo, welcome to another episode of One Goal Away, where we bring you real insights on business, tech, and foundation of growth. We're not just another podcast. We're your blueprint to success. It's your boy, Coach Q, and I got my guy.
It's your boy, Joshua Monday, man. We have an amazing guest today. This is our guy, man. I've been rocking with him for about 8 years now, like 8, 9 years.
Like it's been longer than that.
It's been a long time. Bro. And, man, so we're excited to have Dr. G, Dr. Gerald Onuoha.
What's up, man? What's happening, brother?
Good, man.
Good, bro. Good.
Man,
Glad I can make it out here.
We're going to dive into a lot of things, man. We're going to dive into your story. We're going to talk about the conference that you have going on.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to just have a good time. So tell us, who is Dr. G? Just tell us a little about your origin story and how we got to this point.
Man, Dr. Gerald Onuoha from Huntsville, Alabama. Been in Nashville 20 years, went to Tennessee State, then went to Meharry. Left for a little bit, did graduate school in New Hampshire at Dartmouth, came back, did residency. Now I've been practicing almost 6 years now. I still can't believe it. Yeah. I still to this day cannot believe I'm a doctor.
Man,
I still cannot believe it. Man.
Especially from the background in which you come from.
For sure.
Like, it's crazy to think that you were a high school dropout.
Dropped out of high school in 10th grade, bro.
Dropped out of high school in 10th grade to now being a doctor. So let's just talk about that mindset, because this is about one goal away and about mindset.
Yeah, for sure.
So what made you drop out of high school in the 10th grade? And then what was the thing that made you say, man, I need to finish this and I want to go and be a doctor?
I wasn't focused. Like, I hung around people, lived in a neighborhood where education may not have been the primary goal.
Yeah.
So I hung out with about 8 people. Only 2 of us graduated from high school.
That's good.
In that 4 years.
Circle environments, bro.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And so, like, I dropped out of high school, stayed out for about a year, and then my mama helped me get back into school. I had some church members that helped me get back to school. I had to do alternative school and day and night school for a whole year to catch up. I had a 2.2 GPA my senior year of high school. I didn't think I was going to be able to get into college at all. I had a cousin who was going to Tennessee State, and he asked me to drop him off. I went to go drop him off, and the director of the summer program said, we need one more person to fill this spot or we're going to lose our funding.
Wow.
And I was like, I stay. And so I did the summer program, did well. They asked me to come to TSU. I told them I didn't have the grades. She said, I'm going to write the president a letter to see if he'll give you a chance. She wrote the president a letter. He asked me to come in his office. We talked for 30 minutes. He said, I'm going to give you one chance. That's it, one chance. I got my degree in physics and astronomy, and the rest is history, bro.
It's one goal away.
That's what I'm saying. So, like,
it's crazy. I literally, bro, I cannot believe that I made it this far.
But do you think, all right, so you had your environment, you had the people you hung with.
For sure.
You got second chances. You got another opportunity.
I got them.
Now, do you think once you got to Tennessee State, did you start to change up your circle?
No, I changed it up before then. Like, being from where you're from, you grew up with these people. Like, I always reference Lil Baby's freestyle song. Like, I'm so close to these people. We used to wear each other's coats.
It's a national anthem.
We used to wear each other's clothes. So I knew that in order for me to make it out of there, I had to change my mindset. So I started to do that immediately. And I remember this day vividly, bro. So I was praying. I was like, Lord, if you want me to do something different, you're going to have to do it because I don't know how to do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And literally the next day, I got a chance to go to a school on the other side of town. But I had to start changing my mindset. Like I started not going out as much because I'm 15 years old. I'm going out, staying out all night.
That was a different day in time, bro.
I spent night in my cousin's house 2 or 3 days. I ain't been home in 3 days, you know.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to school either. I had to change my mindset. I had to go to class every day. You know what I'm saying? Like my cousin used to tell me, like, even if you just pay attention to what's going on in class and take the test, you will at least get a B. He was right. So I started getting B's, turned them into A's, and then I was like, oh, this A thing kind of cool. So I started, kept studying. And that's what got me to the 2.2 GPA. Because I think at first I had like a 1 something.
Listen,
For real. But changing your mind, I had to change my mindset early. So when I got to Tennessee State, I already knew what type of people I was looking for, if that makes sense. My mama dropped me out with $10.
So let me ask you a question then. So was it that your surroundings, because he was wearing a shirt like Hood Geek.
Yeah.
Was it that, all right, I'm going to play dumb because everybody dumb around me? Or was it like, because, I mean, for you to drop out and then go to physics and...
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's just like juxtapose where, like, was it that I'm playing dumb or just I'm being lazy, I ain't want to do the work? Or is it just like, I always knew I was smart, I was just didn't want to outshine my environment?
I think it was a combination of a few things. I think that was some of it. Like, you don't want to, you in this group, you don't want to outshine, you don't want to do too much. Yeah. But at the same time, though, I did know that I was smart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
But in addition to that, like, some of the resources and opportunities weren't there for me either. You feel me? Nobody was telling me, hey, man, you need to do your work, do this, do that. As a matter of fact, my guidance counselor told me to drop out of high school.
Really?
He was like, you ain't did nothing. I suspend you every other week. You ain't going to class. All you doing is going to band, PE. And he's like, go ahead and just drop out.
Have you been back to see him?
So, crazy thing, bro. When I was graduating from medical school, my mama sent him an invitation
to your graduation. Yeah. Oh, hey, that's dope, bro.
I was like, hey, my mama, she a very sweet lady, she don't say too many words. I was like, mama petty for that. But I love it. She taking up for her son.
But it's also like, I don't think people understand in them moments the power of the words, the power 100%. That words have speaking into these young kids.
100%, bro.
And that's why, Hood Geek, in your story, I didn't even know you dropped out of high school. We've been kicking it for about 3, 4.
I know it, bro.
And I didn't know that.
I don't talk about it a whole lot, because you know what I'm saying? Like, even though it's a success story, it still comes with pain.
Nah, it is, man.
Like, I still feel pains from it. I grew up in a, single parent home. My mama raised 4 kids, sometimes some of her siblings' kids, on a $25,000 annual salary. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you knew what it took, you'll work for everything you get. Because, like, when you start off that low and ain't that many resources there, it's really hard to pull out of that trap.
But so I know for me, a lot of people are like against Section 8, welfare, all the things, because a lot of people take advantage of them, right?
Sure.
But then you have a lot of people, I'm one of them, whose success was kind of dependent on it because at a point in time, certain resources were stabilizers for my household.
Sure.
And if those things wasn't in place, I don't know what type of mental environment. I was already growing up in that environment, but if it wasn't nothing in place to help,
there would be nothing to catch you from falling.
It would have been a free fall.
Sure.
Those types of things have to exist. Now I want to kind of transition to some of your activists and some of the things you do now.
Yep, sure.
Do you feel like your like the pull you got towards racism and equality and things like that stem from your background and you wanted to pay that forward and make sure that you can, create opportunities for other people?
Oh, absolutely. Bro, listen, I could not have done this without help.
Yeah.
No, there's no doubt about it. Like, people helped me get to this point. And so I wanted to make sure, especially with the social justice stuff, I want to make sure that I was giving back to the community the way that they poured into me. Because when I was in high school, when I got back in, going to Upper Bound, the church programs, like all these programs that were put together so that even if one person made it, they considered it to be a success.
Yeah.
And so I was one of those people. And so, like, going from North Huntsville to literally like becoming a doctor, I'm looking down and I can see what's missing.
Yeah.
Resources here are missing. Foundational things are missing here. So like when the George Floyd thing happened, it was a crazy story because at the time I was one of the only Black doctors in my hospital. And, I went through the same emotions as everybody else. You get mad, you get sad, and you feel like you want to do something about it. I went to nurse's station. I showed everybody this video, and I was like, this shouldn't happen in America. And, initially, most people were very like, oh, man, this is bad. This shouldn't happen. But then I saw something I'd never seen before. And mind you, I come from North Huntsville. Most of the people that I've known up until this point were Black.
Yeah.
I knew very few white people. As a matter of fact, my first white friend that like, I kick it with this person come to my house was in college.
Oh, that's crazy.
You feel me? And he was from Memphis, so I don't even know if, you know what I'm saying? If you're from Memphis, you know what I'm saying. So
he just barely white.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I saw this bias kick in that I never saw before. And I knew that I had to do something about it. And, having a doctor mindset, you see a pathology, you see something that you can diagnose. Your immediate, reaction is to try to treat it, to try to see if you can heal it. And so I went to the chief medical officer of my hospital and asked him if he was comfortable with me having conversations about race. And he said yes. And that's how Everybody vs. Racism got started.
Really?
Yeah.
So, because I was wondering like the origin story around that. What made you like create it as a full-on brand where you wanted to sell T-shirts and all this other stuff? Like, was that the initial goal of it?
No. So we never had any intent on selling T-shirts. The way we started selling T-shirts is we started giving them away in the hospital because after about a month of having conversations about race, I literally was going from department to department talking to people about racism and like, the atrocities that happen to Black and brown people, those types of things. And so one of my coworkers came to me and said, I'll never know what it means to be Black, a Black man, and I never know what it means to be a Black woman, but I know it shouldn't be Black people versus racism or white people versus racism. It should be everybody versus racism. And that's how we got the name.
Okay.
And so once we said that, we had this little, celebration moment where imagine me, 6'5", Black man, I'm jumping around with this white lady. And we hugging each other, because I feel like we really made a breakthrough moment, you know what I'm saying? So we made T-shirts because of that, because we were trying to get the entire hospital involved, which we did. I mean, it was very successful.
Yeah.
Went from having conversations in the hospital and brought them into the city of Nashville, of course. So we started having conversations outside the hospital. They started to be successful. But then we were like, okay, we're having these conversations, but we need to be doing something about it. And so we started to attack the things that we consider to be the foundations of racism: healthcare, education and literacy, got into the creative arts a little bit, workforce development, increasing the amount of professionals in certain industries. And so that's how we, that's how we do our part in Everybody vs. Racism.
So when did you
It's been a blessing, bro.
When was it founded at?
Bro, days after George Floyd. I mean, it was May 2021. Yeah, or 2020, yeah. So, well, that's been a while.
Let's just talk about progress. So,
Progress.
Since George Floyd.
Oh, man.
So we looking at 3 or 4 years later from that tragic moment.
For sure.
How do you feel America has progressed when it comes to racism? And are we still stuck in this loop? Because I feel like it's like a loop. It's like, okay, something bad happens. And the thing about the George Floyd situation is that we couldn't unbusy ourselves from unseeing it.
I think
because we was all at home.
COVID helped.
Everybody, we sitting at the crib, everybody had to see it. You couldn't be like, man, I got to go to work or you got to, So now we're back in the loop of things are busy, racism is still happening at, I think, a higher level. It's more classism than racism.
Yeah.
But people still see it as racism and things that are happening. How do you feel like we've progressed over these last 4 years?
Discrimination still exists, bro.
Yeah, it does.
And to be honest with you, I mean, we've made some progress, but we haven't made enough progress yet, which is the reason why we keep going. My job with Everybody vs. Racism is to work ourselves out of a job.
Yeah.
We want to live in a day where people are not discriminated against for any reason, especially because of color. And if you think about it, discriminating against a person based off of their color is such a minuscule. I don't know. It's dumb, bro. Yeah. I couldn't find an intellectual word for it.
It's dumb.
It's dumb. Because if you think about it, like, you know, humans came out of the cradle of Africa, migrated around the world. If you were this close to the sun, your color, your tint went this way. If you were this close from the sun, your tint went this way. Literally, that's it.
Yeah.
But of course, you know, systems are set up to where you have to, you know, people think you have to discriminate against something, and choosing that color, you know, became the mantra for certain parts of the world.
Do you
and
think it's because people are tribal by nature, and you know, people tend to migrate towards groups, tribes, and race tends to be something that brings, you know, tribal type groups together? Do you think that has impact?
I think that people back in the day had to find a reason to discriminate against people because they did not want to acknowledge the fact that they were using them for free labor.
Because racism goes back, man. And one thing I have to always remind myself, like, you know, we live in a world where we focus primarily on current history.
Absolutely.
But, you know, if we take a step back, we can really look at the racism and classism that has probably existed throughout human history, right?
Some form of classism.
Different forms, like it shapes, right? Now, I'm going to make a controversial statement.
Go ahead.
I feel like today, and what's today? April 11th, 2025, 14. All right, I think we are further. I think racism is worse today. It has been in the last 20, 30 years.
In human history?
No, not human history.
Okay.
Not human history. What we have right now is access to all that's happening. We've never known about everything that takes place.
Okay.
Like right now, I know what's happening over in China. I know what's happening in the Middle East. I know what's happening in South Dakota, Memphis, Nashville, all at the same time. So I have so much information in my brain. It's happening more often. It's kind of like when you buy that car. Now you see it everywhere you go because it's front and center, right? So you see it. So I think that plays a part. But we in America, we have put a leader in place that no longer cares about pretending that he's fighting against racism, fighting against it to abolish it. So now we've had people in there that was all about smoking mirrors. Trump smoking mirrors too, but he's not smoking mirrors to pretend like I'm for everybody. He's not for everybody. And he doesn't pretend to be for everybody, which now empowers those who were pretending, you know, going along with the get along to now say nobody has to do it because now, you know, we in tech, diversity initiatives, they've been abolished. Like to the point.
We definitely got to talk about that too.
To the point, if you still are pro-diversity, you could be penalized. They'll pull your funding. So now it is like, don't do it. Like,
allegedly.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, that's all that has to happen. All I got to do is think it could happen.
Yeah.
To stop doing it, or
sure.
to at least stop making it be. And we already know, like, if it ain't an intentional effort, shit don't just happen organically. You have to, if you're in a position of hiring, you have to intentionally say, I want to hire people that don't look like me.
So you're saying in the past 20 years, this is the worst racism has been?
I think right now, with the state of America, the state of the leadership in America, and the fact that the Democratic Party is probably in the worst position I can remember it being in, as far as like who's up next, who do we have in place to counterbalance what's happening right now?
Yeah,
like strong leadership, like people that got a voice that resonate with people. You know what I'm saying? And that I don't see that in the Democratic Party. You're definitely not going to see it on the Republican side. And the Republicans are more and more empowered. The people in positions of power are more and more empowered to say, we don't gotta be for everybody. We don't have to pretend to be for everybody. So it's now becoming a place right now where it's going back to, we don't want a lot of black people here, and that's okay. It's actually okay to say you don't want it now. Yeah. In the past,
I saw something about that not too long ago.
So now, but the timing of this is interesting because you got people like Elon Musk. He owns X.
He does.
X just bought Grok.
I saw that.
So essentially, Grok is owned, which is an AI company. It is owned by Grok bought X. So the AI company bought X. So now the AI company can essentially ingest all this Twitter information.
It has a lot of access to data.
But it also has a leader in place who has the ability to intentionally ensure that his interests are what the data, what the model receives as far as data. So you have so many people in position that we just trust in Sam Altman and all these people to say, we hope they're not being biased in how the data is being fed into the models, but we know they are. And AI is going, and so many of our children, so many people are just relying on the information from AI just to be what it is. When you got bias and people in positions of power that can train these models based on racist and biased information.
So I've seen a couple of things happen. There are people that are racist, and then there's people that just, they don't give a
fuck who you are,
a bleep about you.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? And sometimes it's more I don't even care about you, I don't even think about you, more than it is about the racism. But this is what I know to be true. About between 30 and 40% of the population right now is either black or brown. This is fact. This is not allegory.
Yeah, for sure.
A third of all the doctors, scientists, engineers are black and brown people or immigrants, for sure. The multicultural GDP in the country is about $5 trillion, which is more than most countries in the world. America cannot do without a multicultural environment. It's impossible. So, I see some of those things that happen in politics as smoke and mirrors. I really do. Because what I pay attention to is the math. I know that in order for America, the entire America, to be prosperous, is going to take everybody. And I honestly think that this might be the first time in history where America needs everybody to actually be
successful,
for sure. And so I try not to look at those political moments. I consider them to be, like I said, smoke and mirrors. I look at what the math is. And then looking at the math, my goal is to try to make sense of the math, translate it into something that I can put forward. And when I develop this thing, this thought, this idea, this event, this whatever, to express what the math is showing, I do that. And, because of the media, propaganda, fake news, all that stuff, you're not going to be able to get everybody. But for sensible people, you can talk to them and say, hey, this is what the math is. This is what's going on. This is what racism looks like. This is how we defeat it. And then they jump on board.
So you spending time in Pulaski, Tennessee, talking to the folks?
I will go wherever. No, listen. I just literally had this conversation. I will go wherever the conversation is needed. This is how I feel. If I only talk to black people about black liberation or about being anti-racism or being anti-racist, I'm not, I don't consider myself an activist, but I'm not an activist. I'm an exhibitionist.
Yeah. Come on.
You have to have these conversations with people that may not believe the same thing that you believe.
So why do we make a big deal? Because I've always wondered why black people make a big deal about us having conversation. For instance, if Josh was to go right now to the White House and have a one-on-one conversation with Donald Trump about workforce development.
You should have a conversation.
You're right.
100%.
But the world would...
you're a sellout.
You're a sellout. You're a sellout. I've been this, I've been that. And I feel like what we do in our community is that when something we like, something that we don't like we be like, okay, we just need to do this the whole time. Like, we're going to just don't exist. We're going to hide. We're going to put our head on the pillow.
I don't agree with that at all.
I don't either. It's like we need to have these
especially
real conversations.
Especially when they're empowered.
100%. Like, if the president, regardless to who the president is, invited me to the White House to have conversations about the things that I know about, I want to go have those conversations. especially if it's in the antithesis of what he actually believes. Because my job is to convince him that, okay, there's a better way.
Right.
There's a better way to do this. There's a better way. There's a better concept. And this is me expressing my ideas to the people that can actually make those decisions, in real time. I wouldn't pass up an opportunity to speak my truths, if that makes sense.
I think, because I think they feel like we're going to get contaminated in the process.
Well, they made a big deal.
Ice Cube. Ice Cube, they made a big deal about Shaq.
So Shaq, well, I don't know why. I don't know the reason why they were there though. That's the only thing though. If you there and you there to pat people on the back, that's one thing. But if you there to say, Mr. President, the black community need more doctors, I'm gonna say that.
No, understood.
But don't you think the first step is to be in the room?
100%.
Now, once you're in the...
I do have to ignore the people, my people, that do have a problem with it, and I love you. But I do have to ignore that because what I am doing is trying to help our people.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
It's
like, why do we ignore...
This man is in power.
I think we feel like we breaking bread with the enemy when we do that. But the flip side of that is when Obama was in office, if white people refused to go visit Obama, we had a problem with that too. Yeah. So we want us to get everybody to rock our views. But if we don't agree with the views, then we want us to just boycott anybody that don't agree with the views. Although the goal is to get Now, if we were anti-segregation, I'd say it makes perfect sense. Like if black people come to the conclusion, like we no longer want to be integrated, right? We cool with it. Then let's come over here, build our community, build our leadership, and let's go this way. But that's not what we're working towards. So we need them, but we don't want to sit at the table with them. We don't want to be around anybody that feels different than our views.
When you say we need them, what do you mean?
What I mean by we need them based on the current ecosystem of black and brown people, not necessarily creating and building at the capacity that we need to be.
I agree with you on that.
Then in this current system, I don't think we need them in general. I think we perfectly capable.
No, yeah.
But we haven't been really moving in that direction where we're building our own ecosystem where we're not integrated into everything they do.
Yes, I wanted to tease that out because I think that when it comes to talent, when it comes to skill, when it comes to resilience, there's nobody more talented, more skillful than black people.
For sure.
100%. The problem that I think black people have, we have an issue with the spirit of maintenance. We can acquire things. We can acquire fame. We can acquire wealth. We can acquire a business. But then we forget about the hospitality. And we forget about the community development. And then we forget about the people that put us on.
Yeah.
Now it's like this middle class group over here, because they houses look a little bit better, I'm gonna stay over here. I ain't gonna go to the hood where I'm from.
This is how gentrification really happens.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And I keep quoting rappers, but I mean, I listen to trap music. So, Jay-Z had this quote where he was like, they grass look greener because they rake it more. It's maintenance.
It's maintenance, yeah.
That's maintenance. And so we have to get into the spirit of maintenance. We got to get into the spirit of maintaining relationships, maintaining our community, maintaining our businesses. Did y'all know this? I just learned this. I think it was like 94%. It's up there in the 90s. I can't remember the exact number. But like 90-something% of black businesses don't employ one person.
Yes. Yeah.
We are
not one person.
Solopreneurs.
So check this out. If you're not building a business and not hiring people, that means you're not creating jobs.
That means you just have a job, honestly.
That's maintenance.
That's maintenance. Yeah.
But it's a different skill set. So I think we get, that's a whole nother skill set I think a lot of black people haven't developed. And like, how do I be, because you have to hire somebody, you have to relinquish control and power.
For sure. So I had to learn that too.
You have to.
I'm still learning.
Yeah, and that's tough, especially when it's your baby. Like, yo, I got this is mine. I've created something. I got my name on it, and now I got to relinquish power because one thing, I don't know, what's the Pinky, she just talked about it. Because what happened with
Slutty Vegan.
So what happens is once you step away, you assume other people care about your stuff the same way you do when they don't. So it still requires a hands-on, hands-off approach to it.
Sure.
And that's a balance in that I think a lot of people don't have. And then it's just, like I said, it's just another skill set to manage people, to manage operations, to do projections and all of these things. And most people haven't built businesses. They've just built jobs, which is fine. It's fine. It's the first step. But having an employment, having a base of people you employ, that's a different model to say, how can I be profitable?
Right.
Doing the work,
right,
paying my employees, paying myself, and then putting back into the business. That's a lot.
But that's not overlooking, because I definitely don't want to overlook this. Like people are dealing with the lack of funding, the lack of mentorship, experience, all those plays a factor in it. Oppression plays a factor in it.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still, there's certain things that don't cost no money to do.
Yeah, vision don't cost anything.
Maintenance.
Right, maintenance, yeah.
So we got to get back into this. We got to get into the spirit
when
of
you
maintenance.
say maintenance, I know you told me earlier, you was like, I'm a one-woman man now. I'm in this new world. So I want to just transition the conversation a little bit, because when I think about maintenance or people struggling with maintenance, you can see that across the board, right? It's no different than people know how to get in relationships,
for sure, and
maintain the rate. It's those oil changes and getting the brakes done, and getting the tires rotated, and I think those skills could possibly coexist in multiple places. And I just think so give me how you feeling in this new world,
this new out of the bachelor, brown eye, doctor, dominant out here. You know what I'm saying? What was the transition from that to all right, I know you always talk about you want to have 10 kids, but
I do want to. I'm Nigerian, bro.
Well, you gotta get started though, man.
I'm Nigerian, bro. So I want to take
you gotta start putting some shots on.
Yeah,
hey, shooters gonna shoot.
The club up ASAP, bro.
Shooters gonna shoot, bro.
What was the mindset shift?
So, a couple of things. I got some good advice from somebody, and it was around where you want your life to go. And if you want to go far in life, you pick a partner that can go there with you. Most people, I mean, even y'all two, y'all on a business together. Imagine if, Josh just added a new, partner with y'all. He ain't talk to you about it, nothing like that. Then y'all feel away. You feel away about it. And now you can no longer work at your full capacity. I've learned to understand that with relationships. Shout out to Black women, the types of things that they've endured up until this point. We as Black men owe them more. I think that we can step up more when it comes to mental health, when it comes to protection, when it comes to providing. We could do those things. We have to get into this place where we start picking partners and not picking dates.
Okay.
And so going on 10 dates is cool, it's fun, but what's the value in it?
Mm-hmm.
What's the value in spending 5 hours of your day texting 10 people,
it's exhausting, bro. That is exhausting.
I'd rather go home. I'd rather text this one person, call them, talk to them, go home to that same person.
Yeah.
Know that person loves me, that they are doing the things in my best interest and allowing me to be the best person I can be. I ain't got time to be arguing. I ain't got time to be fighting. I ain't got time to...
Which allows you to focus. I mean...
Yeah, I'm trying to build $1 billion company, so...
Yeah, it's because,
I don't got time for that.
We've all experienced the jungle and the things of that nature. But what I have learned that once you have that one thing that can hold you down, you can excel in whatever you do. When your home is straight, hey, you can conquer the world.
You don't worry about nothing else.
Now, I'm fighting the world and you in the house
too much.
Hey, you got some.
So speaking of partnership is important. I know you done had conversations about it ain't just about getting a partner. It's about finding the right partner.
Finding the right
partner. And I think one thing, do you think that your personal growth and your get, because we talked about, more black people we need to step up. But I think the first step of you stepping up in a relationship is you stepping up with yourself first. Like, you got to have those moments where you good by yourself. Because if you're not good by yourself, you're not going to be good with nobody. Because if you're going to be patching holes in every relationship. So you got to really spend time becoming good with yourself to be able to be good with anybody.
100%. I think that there was a time where my insecurities made me have volume.
Yeah, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The things that I was fighting with internally made me say, I like this about her, but she ain't got everything.
Yeah.
And she got a little bit too. So I need both of them to make...
Piece it all together. Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
When I started to love myself, then I started to realize that I can purposefully love somebody else and love them regardless to the flaw that I feel like they got. Nobody gonna be 100%.
Yeah, nobody's gonna be perfect.
You go here and say, I'm missing that 20. You go here, you're gonna learn
You'll find
she
that
actually missing 60.
But now she missing 80.
Yeah, so I think it was, growing up, and we all have traumas, we all have pains, we all have those things, but like growing up with those insecurities and traumas did not allow me to see the value of having a queen the way that I see it now.
Yeah.
I only want a queen.
Come on. Yeah.
I want a virtuous woman.
Yeah.
I want a woman that is taking care of her business, that's not out in the streets, don't got to post on Instagram every single day, don't got to show her body. Like, I want those things.
Yeah.
And I want a woman that's going to be praying for me. I want a woman that's speaking life into me. I want a woman that has, poise and like can self-control and things like that. Because, as men, we get a little battleish and our ego come into play. Sometimes you need a woman to put her arm on your shoulder and say, you need to bring it down.
Got you, bro. You good. You good. You safe here. We good.
So like,
because safety is a two-way street, and I think sometimes we don't talk about safety
for sure
in the two-way street that it is.
Absolutely.
Because men appear to always be in a safe place, and we men need a reassurance that it's, hey, you don't got to bring all that ego over here, baby. I love you good. Like bring it down. And I think that's something that, a lot of people are looking for, and we don't have.
100%.
What would you say? I know we got to wrap it up soon.
Do we got to wrap it up?
No, we good.
Are we good? Okay, cool. What would you say?
I'm like this is my podcast.
Is the future way forward?
The future way forward?
Yeah, like when no. So bigger than the event. I mean, the event is just a depiction of the whole plan. But what is the future way forward for Black and brown people? Holistically, not even just in one space.
I'll give you an answer, and I'll put it to everybody.
Okay.
Because it's not about Black and brown.
Okay.
Right? It's not just about Black and brown. It's about everybody. There's something that we've been juggling around called equifuturism. We've been talking about this in Everybody versus Racism. And that looks like a society that is built on innovation where justice can coexist with genius. Where people, regardless to your color, regardless to your background, where you come from, what you believe, your religion, can all come together and equally get the same rights and same opportunities in society, the economy, in culture, all the above. So the future way forward is going to look like people coming together, multicultural, different communities coming together to say, okay, this is what we're doing for all communities as a whole. If you see this community that's lacking, this community doesn't have a library. They don't have a playground. They don't have a study, somewhere where students can study. Communities outside of that community put resources together to make sure that community has the things that it needs. And when you do that, everybody prospers. And if everybody's prospering, America prospers. So
what are the steps to that?
There are steps.
Okay.
So first things first, a rising tide raise all boats, right? So you have to start to affect the people who are marginalized the most. It's the truth.
For sure.
In addition to that, you have to allow certain things that I consider to be fundamental. Everybody should get the same type of, or get the opportunity to have the same level of education. I think that that's important. in a growing global economy where I think China said that by 2025, all of their students K through 12 are required to know AI. Yeah. We should have the same exact mindset. We need to be educating people and educating them where the cream will rise to the top. And those people will be, fostering in what the future of America is going to look like. But we can't do that if we're not pouring resources into places where people have the talent, but they don't have the opportunity. We have to do that.
Yeah,
that's a step.
So you were just sitting at the house thinking about this and saying, you know what? I'm going to do a conference.
Like, so.
Not exactly, but kind of.
Okay, so let's bleed into that.
Okay.
So what's the conference all about? When is it going to be? And then what should people expect when they go to the conference?
Sure.
Like, what is it going to make them like, okay, you know what? I want to be a part of these conversations where I can help shape the future.
The link is here to buy the ticket to the conference.
Yeah.
So the Future Way Forward Conference is May 16th through the 18th at the National Museum of African American Music. We're bringing together creatives, entrepreneurs, and professionals to talk about how to build an inclusive society. Now, this is the truth. The Future Way Forward is not just an event. It's a call to community. We want to ask the profound question, what is the plan?
Yeah.
Like, what is the plan to make sure that this communities are better? And so we're bringing people from all over with hearts and minds and voices that believe in diversity, believe in bringing people together and trying to figure out where do we go from here? What do we see that's happening in the communities? And can we put together a plan to make sure that everybody's going to prosper? And so the thing that I've been thinking about is like this intentional collaboration, bringing entrepreneurs together with professionals like doctors and lawyers and engineers, bringing CEOs in the room with educators and, bringing a couple of community people, even a couple of hood people in the room to talk about, okay, I never met a CEO of a large multi-million-dollar company. I want to meet this person. I want to talk to this person. We get a chance to see that there. Or, Josh and I went to the Nashville Junior Chamber event and I was like, wow, man, I never seen these types of professionals in the room, all at one time. We want to do that and just amplify that. And so what you can expect is engage in conversation. You can expect dialogue. You can expect us asking not just the panelists, but the audience, what should the plan be? And then you can expect action items there in the conference for us to do when we lead the conference.
So you building a community.
I'm building a
community. This is not a come to a conference, sit in the audience and listen. This is going to be a part of the movement of the
Absolutely.
community. Okay.
It shouldn't be about color at this point. Yeah. It's not about black people or white people. I don't care, where you come from, who you love. We don't care about any of that stuff. What are we going to do to make our communities better?
Because I'm going to be honest, man. I know I love the optimism, and I'm a very positive and optimistic person. Yeah. But, right now,
I'm about to scratch that comma out, but we'll see.
Right now, we're in a very critical time. Because I feel like you have some amazing ideas, right? But your ideas these ideas which need to happen, they all need to happen. They are meeting a current right now, which is technology and AI. And we are in this peak of distraction, confusion, and this place where social media already had people, just all over the place. In the algorithm, stuck in the algorithm, which prompted me to write my book and my album, Switch the Algorithm, which is if you don't have it, make sure you go get it. Listen, but now when you bring in automation and ease, right? Yeah. When you think about how we've already built our life around ease and comfort, right? DoorDash, I'm a DoorDash, Instacarter, but we add in now AI can not only help me, it can do my thinking for me. And if you think about it, when we're in the AOL dial-up stage of AI, this is back when you had the, you know what I'm saying? To get online where it took a minute. This is what AI is at, and it's already doing what it's doing. the reality is that we're going to have to combat technology distractions while still trying to engage the community in a collective way to get this progress going. Because if we don't, my next book, shout out to this, it's called Don't Get Swept Away. And it's talking about this current that's coming right now. And I think all of these things need to happen. That's why y'all got to come to the conference, man, because we don't have time to punt, man.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. But we don't have time to punt the ball right now. We don't have time to kick the can down the road. This is today. So I don't like talking in fearful terminology.
I was about to bring that up because you remember the first conversation that you and I had about AI when I was learning about it.
Yeah.
And we talked for about 3 hours and I went home. I was like, I can't believe that these things are happening. But looking forward 3 or 4 months, AI can either be the best thing to happen to humans or the worst thing.
Sure.
The best thing is we start to educate ourselves, educate our communities, add AI into it, and then AI begins to reveal to us the gaps that we've been missing so we can plug them in. People are going to lose jobs, for sure. In this AI age, we're going to lose 75 million jobs, but we're also going to gain 100 million jobs.
Yeah, you got
so
willing to learn the skills.
And I don't think for the most part that AI is going to replace people's jobs. The person that knows AI is going to replace your job.
Yeah.
But AI can also be the worst of things too, right? Like if you manipulate the data to where the information is not accurate, especially for cultures, that's going to be a problem. But it is really going to take the community to decide. So we get to decide where we want the world to go in the future.
Yeah, and I talked to an executive. He runs a $100 million logistics company, and he was just telling me that because we was having this debate about AI, and he was like, "What we're realizing is, and probably because it's at the beginning stages, he's like, AI and a human. Actually, AI is costing me more than a human.
Absolutely.
So he's like." At the rapid pace in which it's going to be adopted, it's not going to be as fast as people think because the money that we're pouring into it is about on par.
The return ain't there.
The data that we have to collect and house, it may be larger than what we actually can comprehend, right?
Yeah.
We're going to have to build huge facilities to collect data. And then we're going to have a way to actually source the data. And then we'll have to have a way to cool down the machines that are mining and securing the data. So
I think a good way to look at it, I heard a podcast and he said when the internet first came out and it got, in the big wave happened, people said this is the end of brick and mortar businesses.
For sure.
Now, we can see 20 years later, it's not the end of brick and mortar. However, it completely transformed how you need to think, move, and exist with your brick and mortar business. And a lot of brick and mortars have went out of business. So if you have completely ignored online and you haven't adopted it, integrated it, you're probably not going to survive. So I say if you look at AI the same way, it's not going to replace people, but it's going to be fully integrated in how we move. Because everything that every business, the internet is inside of every organization operation. AI is going to be the same way. It's going to create new opportunities. But if you just think it's not going to be a big deal and you don't educate yourself and position yourself, then you will be replaced by somebody that knows how to do what you're doing 100 times better because they have these skills and tools at their disposal.
If you don't learn AI now, your job is gone in 2 years.
No, for sure.
That's just a fact.
And I don't care what you do.
No, that's
100%.
That's a fact. So let's well, I don't want to end it on that. Let's end it on a positive note.
I think that to me that's opportunity though. To me, it's not negative. It's only negative. It's only scary if you don't want to learn and continue to evolve.
For sure.
To me, if I'm like a 17, 18-year-old, that's just a massive opportunity to come learn AI and take anybody's job. Like I have so much power now because if I learn this skill set, you got to think most 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old people, they like, yo, I've been doing this for 20 years. I don't want to learn nothing else. And that's the scary part. For our older, moms and dads that haven't retired yet, aunts and uncles that haven't retired yet. And you know, me and Josh, we talked about, I can't give too much, but we talked about supplemental AI training. Because what's not going to happen in the near future is the mandate that China just put out where everybody has to learn AI. I mean, it needs to happen, but it's not on the agenda right now. So we need to supplement the education for the elderly and for the youth so that they can learn and start empowering themselves now. Like that's a business in itself. That's an opportunity in itself to become, you know, somebody that starts to educate those that need to know.
We need to run that, man. Next month, we need to do a community event around it.
And I will take 15 seconds to say, as far as social justice goes, AI may be that alien that we were looking for to bring humans together to realize we not that different.
It's gonna whoop everybody's ass. Just listen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that part. A moral AI that tells us who we are.
Healthcare. You still in healthcare, doctor? What you got going in?
Oh, man, I'm never going to get that up.
Okay.
That's the best job I ever had.
Yeah. So, but you did retire recently, though.
I did.
Is it like, this is a Jordan retirement? It's like that first Jordan with the Bulls retirement.
I mean, I think I always keep a clinic. I always see patients here and there. I try to work at least 4 or 5 days a month.
Okay.
Because I love the craft. I love the clan. I mean, I consider myself to have a calling for being a healer, so I'll always do it. But I see myself as healing people on a larger scale. So now I'm building tech companies within AI, mainly around getting people in and out of the hospital quicker, more healthier, making sure that providers, you know, don't burn out, things like that, which, you know, been working on that for about nine months now. Hopefully we'll have something good come out of it.
Where's the launch date?
July 20th.
This year?
For right now. This year. Yeah.
Oh, is that?
For sure.
All right. So how can they find you, man? Anybody want to connect with you, buy a ticket?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
On Instagram, LinkedIn.
Follow me on Instagram, Dr. Gerald Onuoha. Gerald Onuoha on LinkedIn. Come to the Future Way Forward conference. It's futurewayforward.com. We'll have a good time.
We
May
got the
16th
link
to the 18th. Please put the link in the bio. And these boys are going to be on stage speaking with me, along with a lot of people. Michael Burcham, Sam Davison, Andrea Blackman. Who else we got?
Quan Clark, Joshua Mundy.
I already said them too. Whole bunch of people. So, I mean, it's going to be a good time for sure.
Man. Well, listen, this has been an amazing conversation, bro. I appreciate you coming on.
Quicker than I thought, bro.
Listen.
Y'all don't want to talk another hour?
Nah, it's been about an hour. It's just time fly when you're having a good conversation, bro.
Yeah.
We had to have you on for part 2. So.
Yeah, next time we got to talk about capitalism.
Let's do it.
I want to bring up something about money, but
let's do it. Let's do it.
And access to capital. I want to talk about that too.
Come on.
Yeah, for sure. But hey, man, this is one goal away. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment, share the podcast. If you're loving it, man, just tell us some feedback in the comments. But man, we need you all to join the community One Goal Away. We do have a One Goal Away community in the Discord. So make sure y'all click the Discord channel in the comments and join that community as well. We're just a group of people aiming to do better, to be better, and we do that in community. So make sure y'all tap in.
Yes, sir.
One goal away.
One goal away, man. Listen, man, this has been an amazing time. Josh, Dr. G, Future Way Forward, man. Again, like he said it. Oh, my bad. Listen. Hey, well, listen, we family, man, and we trying to, like, extend this family thing like G talked about. Community is everything. And like I said, man, this is the time. No better time than right now. Please join the Discord. Please like and subscribe. One goal away, we out.
LeBron James is the GOAT.
Yeah.